Joining me now, Maurice McLeod, anti-racism activist, with us on the programme. Maurice, good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, Ian.
I mean, I don't even know how you can dress this one up in any other way than, well, it's certainly at best, shall we say, disturbing. I guess if you had a defence barrister standing here, he'd say, hang on a second, he only mentioned Diane's colour because she talks a lot about that issue, so he reflected that. It wasn't racist to mention her colour, and the shooting thing was really a term that people use, you know, oh, God, I wish they, you know, I'd hang and flog it. Hang them and flog them. It's in that ballpark. I guess, Maurice, that will be his answers. What do you say?
You could be right. I mean, I'd be surprised. I'm surprised that anyone's trying to excuse these comments to us. You couldn't get more obvious than sort of saying, oh, she makes me hate all black women and she should be shot. I'm surprised there's not a criminal investigation. That feels like incitement to me, especially when you're talking about the most racially abused, the most abused MP in Britain, who Diane Abbott is, and you're suggesting, and to say in a public meeting she should be shot, that's beyond scary. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, I guess a stand-up, this is the interesting bit, a stand-up comedian could go there, and not specifically with Diane Abbott, but with MPs and talk about you know, how horrendous MPs are and what should be done to them, etc. But we know well that MPs are targets. David Amos, Joe Cox, you know, there are examples of this, and frighteningly recent and horrific examples. And then, of course, you know, there's MPs whose homes have been, you know, attacked and people outside. Now, I know this was 4 years ago, 5 years ago when he made these comments. Doesn't really matter, to be honest. I think even in 2019, we were aware that if you're in a responsible position, like you're a donor, so therefore I assume if you can give away millions of pounds, you're worth a few quid. Don't know what this guy's job is, but it probably pays more than yours and mine put together, would be my guess. So therefore, he's in a responsible position. He's not a stand. He's not Ricky Gervais. He's not Jimmy Carr. He's not any of those people. So you don't go there, right? I mean, you just don't go there with, you know, even whether it was a white politician, a black politician, whoever. You don't go there talking about death and shooting MPs.
It's ridiculously irresponsible. I think it's more. It's not just what he said. As you say, he's the Tory party's biggest ever, I think, donor, and he's given sort of 10 million quid to them. There's saying, you know, who plays the, you know, who pays the piper, decides the tune. You've got, if you're given that much money and you have these opinions, this matters. This is the government. This is someone that's massively putting money into the government. Has these really, I mean, there's loads of conservatives even coming out saying how appalling this is.
I don't. Yeah, I've not heard any Tory yet. I've heard a few say the classic. Well, I've not yet heard the comments. It's like, well, you have, because I've just told you the comments. I've heard that one, but I've heard very few try to defend it. The only thing I can think on this one, Maurice, is with the race aspect of this, makes me want to hate all black women. Is he trying to say that she just doesn't do a very good job of championing black rights or equality or ending racism because she has because of the kind of person she is, in his view, she actually has the very opposite effect. So I previously, you know, I love people of all colours, is his point. But when I hear Diane Abbott speak, she's enough to make me want to hate people who are exactly the same as her.
To be honest, that sounds like falling over oneself. I'm not saying you're making that argument.
No, I'm doing the barrister thing of wondering what the heck this guy was thinking.
You know, why not go to the most obvious answer, that is that it showed how he thinks, and he had a lapse of judgment and said what he actually thought, and it came out, and now he's having to apologise and all that. I don't think we need to sort of say, oh, well, maybe he was, you know, maybe this guy really cares about black rights and wasn't happy with how Diane was standing up for black rights. That's a massive stretch. There's nothing to suggest that in his history, to be honest.
No, I agree with that, but I also wonder, you know, if Diane Abbott was talking about state education and you know, we know she sent her kid to a private school. I'm not trying to make a point on that here, by the way, just as an example. And I said, you know, when I hear Diane Abbott speak, she's enough to want me to hate all middle-class people. Is it not in that ballpark?
I honestly don't think it is. But I'll tell you, for one reason, people aren't being targeted on the streets, physically attacked. People aren't being killed because they're middle class. So I get the point you're trying to make. I think that's minimizing what is. You know, I know a number of black politicians, black female politicians, who are really terrified by someone in such a senior position saying this. You can't take this lightly. Saying someone should be shot, they should starve to death, or whatever the other thing or horrible things he said was. These aren't just, you know, oh dear, he slipped a slip of the tongue. This is the stuff that the National Front and BNP used to say. Now it's being said by the party that's in government. That's scary.
I guess the distinction there would be when the National Front used to say it, we kind of knew they really did mean it. I don't imagine the only scintilla of space we can give to this man, I don't imagine he really wants to shoot Diane Abbott, is my point.
I think that's again a nonsense argument. If I or anyone else said anything as hideous about this, about another group, I don't think people would be going, oh well, I'm sure he's just being satirical.
Maurice, for what it's worth, I 100% agree with you. I think what he said was outrageous and it should never have gone there. Maurice, thank you.